let's check the current. Welcome back to my channel. I'll be teaching you how to diagnose a faulty pump. So a customer came in today with this water pump that it's not working, and from the look of things, when you start the pump it hums. So let me start it on so you see how it behaves. Okay, sorry about that. So you can see it refuses to start and it hums, and there are many factors which can cause this. One is maybe the bearings have seized, so the pump refuses to turn, or there's a damaged capacitor, or there's an issue with the winding. So we will start with the easiest first. So the easiest is to open the fan cover and rotate the fan to see if the shaft rotates freely. So let me do that. So I'll take the screws off the fan cover first. Take the screws off the fan cover first. So now you can see that the fan rotates freely, which means that there is no issue with the shaft. So I'll go ahead and open the connection box. That's where you can locate the capacitor and the wires going to the windings. So that's what the main connection is done. So I'll open that side first. Okay. Now, as I stated earlier, you can see the capacitor has melted. You can see from the end there, the capacitor has melted. Let me take it off so you can have a better look. So the capacitor has melted, you can see. But one factor which can cause this is a faulty winding. And please, when you are doing anything like this, please pay closer attention to the color coding of the cables. I know the color coding, that's why I didn't bother to do anything about it. But please consider the color coding, or else after you are done, the pump will end up going wrong direction or not working at all. So now with the damaged capacitor, there is two ways to test the motor windings. It's neither you test the leads here, or you run, sorry to say run, you open the covers to have a closer inspection of the core, whether there's some blast at a certain point, is bent at a point. So with this, I'll start with the easiest first. So you can do that with two methods, with the help of a multimeter or a series lamp. So with a multimeter, you set your multimeter to continuity position. So let's go. So at the continuity position, now let's disconnect one of the lines to get accurate reading. Because there are lines coming from the booster or the automatic pump control. So since there are lines coming from them, there are electronic components there, it can affect the reading. So I advise you disconnect one line coming from the booster, or if so you can disconnect all, but I prefer doing one for now. So now my multimeter is set to continuity position. Let's test the leads. Okay. So when testing the leads, you can see we are getting some resistance here. You can see we are getting some resistance. Okay. Now let's test against this lead. We're also getting resistance there. Also getting resistance. But even though the leads are reading, sometimes when the windings are bent and there's no break in the wire, when you test the leads, you get the reading all right. But since the windings are bent, the resistance will be very low, and it will allow the pump to heat or just be damaging the capacitors as this. So I'll use the series lamp. Now, if you don't know how to make one of these, you can leave a comment below and I'll do a quick tutorial for you on how to make one of these series lamps. So let's go. And with the series lamp, how it works is the brightness of the bulb is what determines the resistance. So let's go. So you can see it's very bright. You can see this end too is very bright. Now let's check shortage. I forgot earlier. So when you are diagnosing a pump with a damaged winding, one thing you should consider is the shortage. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So I'll check the body to the body first. Now I've gotten a point on the body to test for the shortage. Now let me test against the leads. It's clear. And this is also a sign that there's no issue with the shortage aspect, but the coil can be bent and there will still be no shortage. So let's proceed. Now, as I tested earlier with the lamp, you see that the lamp is still bright. So with this, the best thing I would advise is to open the covers and have a closer look at the winding and inspect the winding. If there's no damages with the winding, then you proceed to replacing the capacitor. So in order to take off this cover, you need to remove this cooling fan first. So with the help of two flat screwdrivers, you push it under the blades, then you take it out. Now you need an 8mm spanner to lose the bolts here. So let me lose the bolts real quick. Now when opening the covers, you need to pay closer attention, especially with the material type used in manufacturing the case, whether aluminium, cast or iron. So normally these materials are cast. I think so, yeah, cast or aluminum, one of them. So there are different methods of opening this cover. You can either use a hammer to hit this part to take it off, or you can still use the two flats to open it, or a pulley. So let me try the flat first. If it doesn't come off, then I'll use, okay, the flat came, so now it's off. Now you can see there's a sign of rust here. This looks like a stagnant water. So water sorry to say water, but water went in the motor and it stayed here for a while. That's what has caused this rust here. So even if you look at the base of the pump here in the windings, you can see that there's still some sign of rust there. But from the look of things here, the coil looks fine. I mean the winding looks fine. So let's lose the opposite end. Now with that one, you need a different set of spanners because of how it's been positioned. So I'll use this type rather to open it. So I'll lose the bolts. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because the more you subscribe to my channel and view my videos, it motivates me to do more of this stuff for you, because I am teaching you this for free. Meanwhile, somebody is paying for these services. because this job has been brought by a customer to work on, and I'm taking this opportunity to show you how to work on this stuff. So please, the best you can do to help my channel is to subscribe and like my videos, and also leave comments if you don't understand anything or suggestions. I'll be very grateful. So I'm left with losing the last boat. Now the last boat is off. You can still use the same flat method to open it. Now you can see the winding looks good, but from the look of things, it was water which entered and caused shortage. So the water can neither come from the cover. You know, recently we had some rains in Accra here, so I'm sure that it was the rain or the pump has been exposed to water. So since there was a shortage and the pump decided to run, the shortage caused the capacitor to be damaged. So what I'll do is I'll need to replace this capacitor first and run the pump to check the current and see if everything is okay. Then I'll conclude it from the shortage which damaged the capacitor. But if the current is not okay, then the winding has to be done again. So let me service this coil. So I'll need to wash the coil to remove any excess liquid in it and heat it up, then fix it back. Then I'll run it with a new capacitor. So let me get a new capacitor and do that and assemble it. Then we'll run it and see the results. So when I mean washing the coil, it doesn't mean I'll use water to wash it, but I'll use petrol. And there's a chemical used to wash the coil, but it's quite expensive. So locally we use petrol or thinner to wash the coil. Because you can see that after the coil is being done, it's very tight. Like, I mean, the spacing in between the winding is very close. So if there's liquid in it and heat doesn't dry that liquid up, it's very difficult to get it out. But with the help of the petrol will push the liquid out, then you dry the coil. So let me wash it with the petrol. And please, after you wash it with the petrol, do not assemble it immediately, because if there's any least spark and there's some stains of petrol in it, it can cause fire. You need to pour the petrol over the coil so that to push any excess liquid in it. So after washing it with the petrol, I'll have to wait for the air to dry the petrol before applying heat to dry it. So after doing that, I will assemble it and run it with the new capacitor. Then you will see the result. So after washing it and drying it, I have assembled it back. Now is the moment of truth. It's time to test it. This is the new capacitor. So I'll fix the new capacitor. Now, before you run the pump, there have to be enough water here, because there's a mechanical seal located here, and it consists of two parts. It has a stationary part and a moving part. So when the stationary part rubs against the moving part and there's no water there, the friction will cause the seal to heat up and break. So before you run it, it's advisable that at least you fill it up with half the water level, then you run it. So now I have connected the capacitor. Let's run it first and see. You can see it's working. But before we conclude it's working, we have to test the current without load. So I'll set my multimeter to amps. This multimeter is not good at checking low current. So when the current is below 2 amps, you won't receive any reading. Or 1 amp, you receive any reading. So if it's 0 point something, then there will be no reading. It will show 0. So let's see. So the rated current on it is 6.2 amps. So with no load, it should give us about 0.5, 0.6, or at most 1 amp. So let's see. Let me separate the lines very well and try to power it back on. Okay. Now let's check the current. 1.9. Okay, the reason why it stopped was the automatic pump control. It cuts power when there's no water flowing through the system. So if there's no water in the system, it will not allow the pump to run for long in order to safeguard the part. So we'll restart it. So even after restarting, because there's no water in it, it will not work. So let's try for the restart. Okay, 2.1 amps, 1.7. So it's quite okay. I'm getting 2.1 amps and 1.7. It's cool because the maximum load is 6.2 amps. So sometimes with no load you get it low, sometimes it will be a bit higher, but when the load comes on it, it will work perfectly. So that's all for today. This is how to diagnose your faulty pump when it's not working. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also click the notification icon so anytime I post new videos you will see. That's all for today. See you on my next one. Bye.